Welcome to the Ain't That the Truth podcast. I'm Rev Melissa, your host. We are here to proclaim that truth's name is Jesus. We rely on the Bible to explore, understand, and grow in absolute truth. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Ain't That the Truth. I am Rev Melissa, your host. This is going to be an interesting, a weird kind of episode. And a little bit shorter than some of them, and kind of a little bit all over the place, and just weird, not normal. But it'll all make sense, hopefully by the end. So, for those of you that have been with the channel from the very beginning, you know that it started, I believe it was at the end of 2021 when we officially started this podcast, and then it was just something I recorded on my phone, and then I think starting in like 2022, I started actually recording on my computer and getting a little bit more high tech, and then maybe in 2023, I think it was when we got like an intro and outro music to it. So it's kind of progressed significantly over the last 10 seasons. I can't even believe that I'm saying this, that, you know, we've been doing this podcast for 10 seasons. It has progressed. And also for those of you that have followed the podcast from the beginning, thank you, number one. You also know that 2025 was a horrible year for the podcast. And I'm able to admit that. We did maybe a few episodes, like a handful of episodes in 2025, and that was pretty much it. And so I wanted to take a minute or two just to kind of explain why, kind of explain what's been happening in my life, and then kind of explain what I feel like the future is for this podcast, and just kind of share a little bit of my heart with you guys. So, just to kind of share with you guys where I've been, and some parts of this I've already shared on the podcast, but I kind of just want to start from the beginning of things. As you guys know, I was a missionary in Senegal, Africa, at the end of, starting in July of 2024 is when I got there. And that, you know, missions in Africa has been a huge, large part of my heart for a long time. And I got there, and it was awesome. But it was short-lived. It was supposed to be a 2-year term, and I was there until like October 23rd or somewhere around there, and was sent home due to some medical issues that was taking place. And I'm just going to be honest with you guys, they were mental health issues that were taking place. And I don't want to get too hot and heavy into the reason behind all of those mental health issues, to because that's not the point of this. But that's kind of where my life has kind of changed a lot since then. I've been through a lot of processes since then in therapy, just in my relationship with Jesus. That is, I'm going to say more solid than it's ever been before, more real and authentic than it's ever been before. But 2025 was where a lot of that change happened, and it was the hardest, one of the hardest years of my life. A lot of great things happened. I work for Adult and Teen Challenge of Kentucky at Brandenburg Outreach. I absolutely love where I've landed, and what I get to do. Working with ladies that have life-controlling issues and addictions, and helping them find freedom in Jesus and hope has been incredible, and I love what I do. But 2025 has been hard, was hard, because I was going through a healing journey of trying to heal all of the mental health stuff and the stuff that was behind the mental health stuff. on this kind of journey of rediscovering Jesus, and we talked about it a little bit on this podcast. And no, for those of you who are worried, I'm not deconstructed to the point of I don't have a relationship with Jesus anymore, or I've turned new age, or nothing like that. But my relationship with Jesus, I don't know how to describe it other than I've really learned, and I'm continuing to learn because it's a process, the true character of Jesus, who he truly is, and who he's called me to be. In my, I'm learning really what my identity is in him, as me and him, not with anybody else interfering or getting involved, just me and Jesus. And it's been an incredible journey, but a hard journey. And because I was navigating, a new job in 2025, living in a new city, this healing journey and going through therapy, and all the mental health struggles that I endured in 2025, that's why the podcast it had to take a back burner, because mental health wise, I just could not do this, because what little I had to give, I was giving at my new job. And as you guys know, I was also at the time associate pastor. And so there was just a lot going on in my life, along with all the other stuff going on personally. And so the podcast just kind of naturally took a back burner to all of that. And so, I had to kind of choose what my priorities were, and I was choosing other things other than the podcast, which was so needed, and I don't regret it at all. But I have missed it. I know that God's given me this ministry of podcasting. I feel like I'm good at it. I'm good at speaking his truth. And so I feel like I'm still on this healing journey. I'm still on this journey of rediscovering who he is. And there's a lot of me that's still changing and transforming, like it's going to do the rest of my life, because we know that this process with Jesus is a journey, a lifelong journey. But I feel like I'm at a place now where I'm settled enough that I can start the podcast again. So I'm really excited about that. But I wanted to be kind of frank with you guys, as the ones that have been following this podcast, or if you're new to the channel, to kind of get to know me a little bit and where I've kind of been lately. With that being said, I do feel like there's a future for this podcast, but it's going to look a little different. As you guys know, every year I pray for words, that God would give me a word or two or a phrase for a new year. And for 2026, he gave me 2 words of restoration and reset. And, it's so funny that he gave me those words, and I had an idea, a picture in my head of what that meant. I was trying to put kind of my will onto those words of like, oh, you're going to do this in my life and this in my life. But it's kind of looked different. But it's been amazing. Just reset. I literally feel like I'm putting a reset button on my life, and I'm truly starting to live now. Before, yes, I was living because I had a relationship with him, but it's becoming more real to me, and in a very different way. I have found more freedom in him than I ever have before. And so I feel like I'm hitting a reset button literally on life, and kind of reclaiming my identity in him and truly who he says that I am. And it's so funny because practically in the physical realm, I'm having a lot of resets too. Like, this, might sound silly, but tomorrow I'm getting a new cell phone and a new cell phone number. I plan on getting a new Facebook and redoing that. Let's see here. And with that reset, I also feel like this podcast needs a reset. What was with the Ain't That the Truth podcast has been great. I'm not saying it hasn't. And I do stand by the things that I've said on this podcast because I did my research and I believe the things that I said on this podcast. So don't get me wrong that like to trash everything up to this point. And I'm not going to be deleting those videos by any means, the podcast episodes. They're still going to be there because every once in a while I like to listen back on them and be reminded of the things that God spoke to me. But I just feel like this podcast also needs a reset. And so with that reset is going to come a new name. And I have some ideas in my head, and I've been kind of polling my friends, my close friends, and asking them, like, out of these three names, which one do you like the best? And with their input and, of course, praying about it, I should be revealing, hopefully, in the next few weeks to you all the new name, which means there will be a new YouTube channel that will be created with that new name for the podcast, as well as a new kind of channel on Spotify as well. Like I said, I'm not going to completely delete the old, so that way you can still go back and look and listen to the old stuff, but there is going to be a new thing going on. It's going to have a new title and everything, and it's going to have to happen over time because I'm going to have to create a new intro and outro with the new name and kind of the new direction I feel like the podcast is going in, and that's going to take time. So this is going to be not an all-at-once thing. So you might still have a few episodes that are still going to be under the Ain't That the Truth podcast for now, until I can fully get a reset over to the new podcast. But I will let you guys know as that's happening, so that way everybody can be up to date and ready to like and subscribe to the new podcast on YouTube and on Spotify. And those are the two platforms that I'm going to focus on for this new one. I never really had any luck with Apple anyways, and so it's going to be Spotify and YouTube. Primarily YouTube, it's the primary, but I also will have it on Spotify for you Spotify users. But I just think it's time for a reset. I'm resetting things in my life, and therefore I want to reset the podcast. So there's a couple of things I'm going to ask of you all as my listeners for the podcast. First off, again, I just want to thank you, and thank God, because I love this ministry that he's given me, and the idea for the podcast and kind of what he's done. I'm super excited about it. I still am. I know that you guys probably felt ghosted all of 2025 for the most part, and I apologize for that, but it was much needed. But I still feel called to this. I still feel called to be a podcast host and to spread the truth. And so that's still what the new channel is going to be about. Is going to be about spreading the truth. It's just going to have a little bit of a different twist to it. But it's going to be good, I promise. But for those of you, keep up with it, please. I ask that whenever we do switch over, please subscribe and follow and listen to the podcast. And it's not just for me so I can get a bunch of likes or whatever, but when you subscribe and you like the videos, it gets it out to more people. And that's what you want, is the truth of Christ, right? To get out to more people. And so the more likes and the more subscribers we have, the more it gets out there in the YouTube world and in the Spotify world, and more people can discover the podcast. For his glory, of course, not for mine. And I also would ask that you would pray, because I'm still seeking direction over exactly what everything's going to look like in my personal life, but also for this podcast. So yeah, just pray. And then to kind of end this episode, like I said, it's going to be a shorter episode. I wanted to share some cool and exciting things that have happened since the beginning of 2026. I was able to get my first book published. For those that don't know, I am now a published author, which is super exciting. I'm super blessed to be able to have that. I've loved writing for a very long time, and I've always wanted to write a book, and I did, guys. And it's called Coexisting Characteristics of Christ, and it's available on Kindle and on Amazon. Like I said, it's called Coexisting Characteristics of Christ. please go check it out. My author name's the same as my podcast host name, so it's Revy Melissa. And it really just talks a lot about the character of Jesus and how different characteristics can coexist harmoniously in Jesus. Definitely inspired by him. And I'm not going to claim that it'll be the best book that you have ever read, but know that it came from my heart and also from the heart of Jesus. So that's an exciting update. So yes, please go on Spotify, not Spotify, on Amazon or Kindle and check that out. Number 2 of exciting things that have happened since 2026 started is I got 10 worship songs copyrighted. And I am super excited about it. If I were to put like a title on, like an album title almost on these 10 songs, not that I've gotten them recorded or anything, they've just been copyrighted, it would be just one. And so there's going to be a concert coming up soon. I can give more details on that at a later date, but I'm excited to get this music out there because it glorifies Jesus, and he's worthy of all the glory, honor, and praise. So God is up to good things, and I just wanted to share all of that. But just know that this podcast is going to be new and different and exciting, but it's still going to be here, and we're still going to proclaim his truth. And so I just wanted to hop on here and let you guys know that. So as always, we're going to pray to end this episode. And so, yeah. Dear Heavenly Father, God, thank you for the Ain't That the Truth podcast, and thank you for what it's going to become. I don't know what the name's going to be yet, but you do. Oh, God, I just thank you for the opportunity to host this and to have this ministry, God. And I pray for every listener, God, that whatever dream you've given them, whether it's to start their own podcast or to write a book or to produce songs or start a small group Bible study or whatever the case may be, reveal that to them and let them dream big and let them have the courage to go out and do whatever you called them to do. And we just thank you for who you are. And it's in your name we pray. Amen. Well, I love you all, and I will catch you on the next episode.